I'll put a light on top of them so that when I go downstairs I can quickly identify the holes and see whether that's a proper position to place a stanchion down below. I don't want them to stand right on top of a floor beam, because then I would have to cut away the floor beam in order to position a stanchion below, right? So, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the floor here where the stanchion goes through, because I don't want the wood of the floor to sit between this stanchion and the one below, because the wood in the floor could compress and that could cause movement. So yeah, I'm first making sure that they are perfectly as possible, is vertical with a little bubble gauge. Now this one is vertical. Now I'm going to drill through the holes of the stanchion. Okay, I'm going to place my work light on top of it. Okay, and now I'm quickly running downstairs and check whether these holes are in a favorable location. Yeah, that's a good spot. Through the planks, not through a beam. I will have to move some stuff aside down below, but I can position the stanchion there. It's gonna mark what I have to cut out. Okay, so I'm going to place this stanchion under the hole. Right, so let's go upstairs and bolt the two together. Now, making sure that the poles are perfectly vertical, I'll do that downstairs. I can position it there better downstairs and then put a little bit of tension on the poles just so that they stay in place, and then yeah, we carry on with the other three. So I got all stanchions in place. I've positioned them downstairs with their foot on a wooden block. They're all straight, well, they're all vertical. I've positioned wedges where there were gaps between wood. I want to have good connections, wood to wood. The screws are there just to keep things in place, but the support should be going from wood to wood. Okay, so I just had our neighbor over, Claude. You've seen him before. He helped us with clearing out the basement. Just wanted to have a second opinion on my contraption, making sure that I didn't forget anything or skip any steps. Just wanted to see what he would think of the way I have reinforced the roof and whether it would be safe to continue taking down the wall. And he agrees. He had a good look and he said it's fine. So yeah, not that he's an engineer or anything, but you know, he's renovated houses and he's got a very good understanding of how forces work and how these houses are built. He also explained me, that's quite funny, that the reason why the roof rafters are not tied with the beams, the horizontal beams, The reason being is that in the summer material expands with the heat, and in the winter it contracts, and that is most likely the reason why everything is sort of loose and flexible. And yeah, that seems to be a way these houses are built. Old traditional houses completely different than modern builds. So that's interesting. Yeah, okay, so there's nothing stopping me from starting to taking that wall apart. Let's get started. Exciting. So this is the width of the door. This is the width or the length of the lintel. So I'm starting to remove first all the stuff that we need to remove in order to install the lintel, and then we start taking the rest down. So, what am I doing? Something I ask myself often, but I'll explain you right now. Normally, when you have a wall and you want to create a door opening, say here, and you take away stones or whatever the wall is built of, then the weight up here will push down. There's no support here, so the whole structure will collapse, right? And that is why you install a lintel or lento. So first you make an opening carefully. You install a lintel out of wood, of concrete or steel, and then you start opening what's underneath. So now the weight, which is here, rests on these points here on top of the wall. This weight is supported. Here there's no support for this weight, it will just collapse. Now if we take a cross section of a house, this is say a ceiling beam. On top here you usually have the wall here, and a ceiling beam sticks in the wall like that. Now if you want to start removing this bit of the wall because you want to create a door opening to go in, then you need to support this wall above the opening, plus the beam, the ceiling beam or the floor joist, by installing a lintel. And usually you install the lintel in this section of the wall, right? So this lintel here sits basically here, and by sitting here it'll support this beam. Is that a bit clear? Maybe not. I'm not the best at drawing these pictures, but basically you install a lintel below a ceiling beam so that the ceiling rests on the lintel and the wall above it as well. Now what you get, obviously, the height of the opening is reduced by this big lintel sitting there. Now in our situation there is not too much height anyway, and being tall myself, I don't like bending my head. I rather step over something in order to go out and in, rather than bending my head. Also, another thing is to consider is that I don't know the interior floor, how high exactly it's going to be once we start renovating the interior of the house. And therefore I have decided on installing a lintel at the same level of the floor joist. So this is the lintel and this is the floor joist. In order to create a very strong bond, you need to have a very strong bond. Here the weight is just supported on the lintel. You don't need a bond between them basically. But here obviously you need a very strong joint, otherwise the floor joist will fall down. Now how could you do that? You could do that by, for example, working with an IPN. An IPN is basically a big steel structure, bar like that, in this T shape, and then you could install the IPN like this in the wall. The wall goes here, continues there. The floor joist sits in the IPN, leans on the IPN, and the wall is supported as well. This part you fill up so that you don't see the IPN from the exterior. But in order to do so, I would need a really large IPN, because these joists, they're quite large. It's about 15 centimeters. It's going to be a massive IPN that I would need, and massive IPNs are really heavy, and I don't see myself lifting that into the trailer, out of the trailer, in the back of the yard, up the stairs, and then up into the cavity that I've created. I just don't see that happening. So what I've decided is to make an IPN myself. Floor joist. I have joined, as you can see, 2 planks together. This is almost the total width of the wall now. 30 centimeters, 1 feet. I have joined them together. You can't really see it. There's screw holes here. It's glued together and it's screwed together. And I can later fill up those screw holes. But basically, I've created 2 planks. Cross section. 1 plank of 30 centimeters is going to sit there. 1 plank is going to sit there underneath the floor joist. Then I still have loose planks. 1 is going to sit here and 1 is going to sit here. Let me enlarge it a little bit. Floor joist. top plank, bottom plank, one plank horizontal, and the second plank horizontal. Under here, obviously wall, and here also wall. We're talking about the wall on the sides, eh? On the sides of the lintel, basically. In the middle there's no wall. So what I've been doing is I've created two planks and made it, from two planks I made it one plank. I'm going to screw in there. I'm going to screw in here. I'm going to screw this plank into the lintel. Then I'm going to screw in here to have this plank sitting on the outside. And then what you see on the exterior of the house is this side of the wood. This side of the wood I'm going to paint in a darker color, a treatment, and it will look like one beam from the exterior. It will just look like a big wooden lintel, an oak lintel. This is not oak that I bought, this is a pine. Reason being is that it's a lot lighter. I can just easily handle it myself. So basically I'm building an IPN out of planks of wood. And then in order to fill this cavity, I'm installing another plank on the exterior side. The weight of the top of the wall with the roof above it will be held by this plank basically. And then this sits on the wall again. So in that way I have lost in a height only the width of the plank. No, not the width of the plank, the thickness of the plank. Instead of having a normal lintel sitting underneath, which would probably be a foot in height reduction, and in this case it's only 5 centimeters, 2 inches. So that saves me 20 centimeters, about 6.5 inches. Yeah, it's a bit of work, a bit of carpentry work, but I don't mind that. I think this is going to work perfectly fine. So that's basically what I'm doing. I hope you understand. So I have freed up all space around the ceiling joists, ceiling beams, apart from the part where they are actually still laying on top of the wall. That's just a little bit of security I want to keep for now. I have at the same time prepared my IPN shape, I shape. I've made the top part and the vertical part. I've glued them together, screwed them together, and I am going to insert them now here in the cavity and screw them into the floor beams. And that will provide some kind of support to the floor beams, to the complete structure, tie it together. And then when that is set, then I will start removing the stones underneath the floor beams in order to insert and install the lower horizontal part of the eye. I have just glued some spacers on this beam because there's gonna be another beam sitting in front here, right down, and that will be sort of what you get to see from the exterior. Okay, maybe you see it, but under this floor beam, we still have some rocks and stuff supporting the floor beam onto the wall. So once I start removing that, my contraption will take the full load of the roof and the floor beams also. So this is really going to be the proof in the pudding when I start removing those bits of rock still underneath the floor beams. So just in case this all goes horribly wrong and the roof collapses on me, and then this floor collapses and we all end up in a big pile of rubble on the ground floor, just a few words. A big shout out to Marguerite. I know you're my, well, one of my #1 fans. Thank you very much for your contributions and for your ongoing support. And then further, well, if you wish to support this channel as well and help to keep it alive, you could always donate us a coffee via the link below, or the link in the description. Now, in case this all goes horribly wrong and this clip ends with a big cloud of debris and particles, then forget about the coffee. There's no need to donate me any coffees then. But just in case it all goes well, your donation is very much appreciated. Now, let's go for it. Wow. Okay, 2 more floor beams to free up, and then the whole contraption is supported by my supports, and we can slide the last bit of my I-beam under. Okay, so that's it. And I'm still alive, I guess. We're going to make some adjustments to the beam, the floor beams, and then slide in the lower part of the eye. So the bottom board is in place. I'm gonna glue everything together. So I'm gonna glue the bottom part of the I-beam onto the middle section, and then I'm gonna glue this plank here in front of the two, so that becomes a fascia board. I'll put everything under tension, wedge it in place so that the glue can set over the weekend. And then once we start taking this wall down for the door opening, I will screw from underneath everything together. So that will be good. Yeah, I've said it so many times, but one of the tools I can really recommend is an electric caulking gun. I've got a Makita one, you've got the Walt, I think Bosch has one. Oh, that has saved me so much muscle ache. Yeah, okay, let this cure over the weekend, and then we can later sand it all smooth, and yeah, if we really wanted to, we could even put a nice oak board in front of it, pretending that the whole beam is one solid oak beam. That's what I really like. Right. I'm going to conclude this video at this point. Why? It's Friday and I gotta really start cleaning up the house, tidying up. People who've been watching this channel for longer know what that means, and that means that Nadia is coming back. I'm gonna pick her up from the airport tomorrow. She'll be here on Sunday, and then next week I've got plenty of jobs for her to do. So I would like to thank you all for watching, for commenting, for liking, for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, do so and hit the bell icon so that you get the notifications when the vlogs are up. Usually Sunday around noon European time. And well, thank you all and see you next week. Bye now.